Hello everyone, back into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's video, which will take us around the 26th of March. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles running to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS-B2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Take us into April, of course. Beginning with all of the latest developments with the stratospheric warming. So that's where we're going to start today's video update. So temperatures are beginning to lift up now already at 10 HPA. We've been talking about this in the videos over the past week or so. The black line shows where temperatures have been through this season at 10 HPA in the stratosphere. The grey line is a trend line. So you can see at this point of the year, temperatures at 10 HPA in the stratosphere should be warming up, and they gradually keep increasing then on average through to the summer, where they reach their sort of peak, and then into the end of summer, into the autumn, they'll start to drop again. Through most of this season, temperatures have been significantly colder than average. This from the JMA, of course, by the way. Temperatures have been significantly colder than average at 10 HPA most of the season, except in the beginning of at the beginning of February. We did get a little bit of a warming of the stratosphere then, but you'll see that right now we are around average. Actually, we've returned to the return to the grey line, the trend line, and so temperatures at 10 HPA are around average. That black line is going to keep increasing over the next few days, and it's going to move up, and it will do something a little bit like that. It'll look quite dramatic, I think, by the time we get through to the weekend. If we have a look at 30 HPA, lower down towards the troposphere, there the stratosphere is still very, very cold, as it has been through most of this season. Again, the grey line is a trend line, so at this point, by around sort of middle of March, we should be around there with the temperature at 30 HPA, so should be somewhere around there, sort of minus 55, something like that. We're down here, we're at around minus 85, minus 75, I should say. But the black line is lifting up, it is increasing, and I think we will see the black line returning back to long-term averages before too much longer. How far it goes into the sort of warmer section of the graph up here, that remains to be seen, of course. So, yes, things are beginning to move in the stratosphere at the moment, and this is going to gather pace. This warming of the stratosphere is going to gather pace in the coming days. So this is the GFS temperature forecast for 10 HPA from meteoseal.fr. You can see that already from North America and the North Atlantic, we're beginning to get these yellow colours appearing and already starting to infiltrate the green colours into the Arctic now and into the North Pole. And those temperatures are going to carry on increasing and strengthening further in the coming days, so that by the time we get through to around 21st of March, we've actually got the red colours appearing then. So that's reaching southern stratospheric warming temperature levels, and that goes on, does move right into the very top of the North Pole as we get through to around the 22nd. So around 21st, 22nd of March, that's when this southern stratospheric warming is going to be at its peak at 10 HPA, seeing those red colours sitting out over the top of the Arctic. That means on this chart, if you go back to 10 HPA, on this chart we will probably see that black line lifting up to around that sort of level. It may go towards the very, very top of the chart by the time we get through to around the 21st, 22nd of March. Now, of course, we can't maintain those temperatures indefinitely or for all that long, so we do start to reduce them as we go further on in towards the final week of March. But nevertheless, it's very significant warming of stratosphere that's coming up this week. And then, of course, we should wait to see what, if any, impacts that starts to have on the troposphere. That's how the GFS is looking. This is the ECM from the University of Berlin. This is the ECM temperature forecast at 10 HPA. Again, today you see we're already beginning to lift the temperature up at 10 HPA. Hopefully on this chart they do highlight the North Pole itself, that black X just there. So temperatures already begin to lift up today at 10 HPA, but by the time you get through to around the 19th of March, then we've got those bright red colours moving into the North Pole itself. So yes, temperatures shooting up very significantly, going up to around minus 20, minus 15 on the temperature scale at 10 HPA. And then in 10 days' time, that's how we're looking. So then the temperature beginning to reduce slightly, but nevertheless still very significantly above average at 10 HPA. Go low down to 30 HPA. Well, these are the cold temperatures that we've currently got on this level of the stratosphere down at 30 HPA, which more or less going towards the troposphere, actually. So, yes, very cold temperatures at the moment, much colder than average. But as we go through to the 20th of March, then we start to see signs of this one beginning to appear at 30 HPA, excuse me, particularly on the eastern side of the Arctic over here. And then moving on to day 10, we see that's sort of intensifying further. So orange colours then beginning to appear. Temperature starting to lift up to around minus 30 or so at 30 HPA. So it does look as though this very significant stratospheric warming at 10 HPA will, around 10 days' time, start to propagate down in towards 30 HPA and the tropospheric level. These are the zonal winds and fluxes. So, of course, zonal winds are sort of telling us the strength, if you like, of zonality. So, we've had a very strong zonal wind through this season, but we see that at 1 HPA, and 1 HPA is kind of like at the very top of the stratosphere, as far as you can go, really. That is showing that the zonal wind is going into reverse at 1 HPA, but of course that's too far away from the troposphere to have any real impact on weather. However, at 30 HPA, we can see that temperatures, wind fluxes, I should say, and the zonal wind is getting very close to a reversal then. You can see how the blue line just here, that's sort of dipping down to that level around day 10. So not quite a reversal of zonal winds at 10 HPA, but getting quite close to it. No sign of a reversal of zonal winds at 30 HPA at this point, but a bit of a reduction in the strength of the zonal wind at both 10 and 30 HPA. And we should wait and see whether we do get a reversal of zonal winds at 10 HPA. If we get a reversal, if we send the zonal winds into reverse, that could be an indication that later on we'll see a tropospheric response and get some northern blocking. So basically it's all still on course. The very significant warming of the stratosphere has started already and will reach its peak in around a week or so's time. And yes, we are going to see a very, very significant warming of the stratosphere, and we should wait to see whether that is enough to send the zonal winds into reverse, and whether we shall get any sort of tropospheric response by northern blocking to that southern stratospheric warming. So we're keeping a close eye on it in the next few days, the next couple of weeks, of course. Central temperature is looking like this for March. So we're halfway through the month now. We're at the 15th of March. We're currently standing at 6.7. That's an anomaly of 1.4 degrees above average, so near 1.5 degrees above 61 to 1990 average. It's not that different from January and February, though. So January came out at 6.4 and February at 6.3. It's not much of an increase from that, really, telling us that this has been, it has been a slightly cooler month compared to average, compared to January and February, which were very, very significantly warmer than average, over 2.5 degrees above average in both instances. And that may drop a little bit, actually, later on this week. You may see the CT dropping in the second half of the week as we start to pull in some cold air from the north and eventually from the northeast. The overall outlook, though, is anticyclonic, more so than temperature. I think the main story in the next week to 10 days is going to be one of significantly drier weather than we've been used to for some time. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from Penn State University for the next week to 10 days, with the ECMWF on the top and the GFS on the bottom. And you can see that, yes, we have got an area of above average heights there across the Atlantic and much of northern Europe as well. We've got below average heights out to our northwest around Greenland, Iceland. The jet stream is pushing northwards as well. So that looks pretty spring-like, you have to say. We're under that area of high pressure. Should be very pleasant. Might be a bit cold by night, with night frost, but certainly by day in the very rapidly strengthening March sunshine, we should see a pretty pleasant spring-like type days. That's in the week to 10 day time frame. We have got a cold snap before we start to get those spring-like temperatures, though. GFS is very similar, so again lots of low pressure out to the northwest, but we've got a ridge of high pressure that's building in from the Azores and then going up towards Scandinavia as well, jet stream being pushed northwards. Again, that does look quite pleasant in the more extended range. Of course, one thing I'll be watching out for with the situation with the coronavirus is if we start to see flights being cancelled. I think we are going to see that. We're probably already seeing that, but it will probably gather pace over the next few days, or the next week or two. A lot of the observational data that is taken for these models that are creating these forecasts going forwards, a lot of that observational data does come from flights and from aircraft. So if the flights aren't, if the aircraft aren't flying, then we're not going to get the observational data, and that may have impacts on model reliability in the next few weeks. It's something we do see a little bit around Christmas, actually. So around Christmas Day, Boxing Day, we see quite a sharp reduction of flights, only very temporarily, and around a couple of days after Christmas Day, you tend to start seeing a few sort of bizarre model runs appearing. Very often they are quite cold for us, and you start getting some quite strange synoptics appearing just for one or two model runs around Boxing Day, 27th of December, after that reduction of flights that occurs on Christmas Day. And, of course, that's only very temporary. It only lasts a day or so. But this could be an extended period with low levels of observational data from aircraft. So it's possible that we might see impacts with the models and not see model reliability doing a little bit of a plunge. It's something that we've got to keep at the back of our minds as we go forwards, whether we're going to start seeing model reliability plunging as a result of fewer aircraft taking observational data. So that's just something to bear in mind about any sort of model forecast that we're going to be looking at in the next few days and weeks, I think. Right, back to business, and these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. The red line is 30-year upper air temperature average for London, and we're actually going to see the temperature going up quite nicely in the next couple of days, so it's going to become very mild Tuesday to Wednesday, but then we're going to have a bit of a plunge in the temperature as we go through to the end of the week. Certainly a cold snap coming up end of week into weekend. Doesn't last all that long though now, and as we go through to next week and into the last week of March, we do see that the temperatures then are starting to lift back up in terms of the upper air temperatures. So overall, probably averaging out not too bad with temperatures, but we are going to have this cold snap at the end of the week into weekend. More notable than temperature, I think, is precipitation. So again, lots of dry weather coming up. That's a very dry ensemble graph. There is going to be precipitation at times, so it's not going to be totally dry for the next 2 weeks. However, this is a much, much drier ensemble graph than we've seen for a very long time, and the trend is definitely towards higher pressure and dry conditions for the second half of March. Temperature anomaly is actually quite cold. It's from the 16th, 24th of March. And yes, temperature anomalies do look quite cold. So when we get this cold snap, it is going to be quite a potent cold snap, I think, from around Thursday through to Sunday. Precipitation anomalies from 16th, 24th of March. They're drier than average. So a bit drier than average, a bit colder than average in week air. That's very different on the overall setup during the winter just gone, when most days and weeks, of course, were wetter, but also warmer than average. That's how the GFS is looking for Thursday. So on Thursday, we started to pull down cold air from the north behind a cold front, and as we go through to Friday, we're all into that cold air then, with winds swinging into the northeast. The high pressure begins to move towards Scandinavia. We start to pick up an easterly wind into the weekend. That's going to have quite a bite to it, I think, that easterly wind, and it could well bring wintry showers into southeastern parts of the country as well. That's all to be sorted out later in the week, of course. Through to the early part of next week, we're still in those cold sort of easterly winds, but by Tuesday next week, we see the ridge beginning to slip southwards. We start to infiltrate milder temperatures up from the southwest around the top of that ridge, and so through the course of next week, temperatures begin to stage a recovery. That's Wednesday next week, 25th of March. We're looking a lot milder then. High pressure away to our east, low pressure out to the northwest, and up comes those southwesterly winds By day 10, we're just starting to turn a little bit more unsettled again as the weather front is coming in from off the Atlantic, but not for long. We're back into high pressure conditions again through the closing days of March. However, again, that high pressure getting itself to Scandinavia. We're going to wind back into the east as we come towards the end of March. And that's as far as we can go with the GFS today, which is actually Wednesday the 1st of April, with a cold easterly wind then. But also, again, because we're quite close to high pressure, a fair amount of dry weather. So, of course, spring is the most easterly season. We explain this all the time, that you expect easterly winds in spring. We go all winter with barely a sniff of an easterly, and then we get into spring and we get loads of easterlies. That's typical. It's very classic for what we see during the spring. May, of course, is the most easterly month on average of all months. So it's nothing particularly out of the ordinary. GM looks like that. So again, we're introducing a cold northerly across the country through Thursday into Friday as well. Then we turn wind into the east, and it will be quite a cold easterly wind that we have over the weekend. But early next week, then we start to see the ridge slipping southwards into Central Europe, and we begin to pull in milder air around the top of the ridge from the southwest. So by the middle of next week, we're back into much milder temperatures, but we're still close to high pressure, so mainly dry as we come towards day 10. High pressure dominating weather, but temperatures probably lifting up into the mid-teens Celsius, a lot milder through next week. And then the East CWF looking like that. So again, cold snap is establishing itself on Thursday. By Friday, we're all looking pretty chilly with winds in from the north to northeast. Over weekend, high pressure is in control, so it will be mainly dry over the weekend, but it will be cold. Winds turning to the east. They could bring wintry showers into southeastern parts of the country. Cold conditions probably maintained to the start of next week, and then again the same idea, but milder air begins to move in around the edge of the high. And as we get towards day 10, we're still under high pressure, so still a lot of dry weather up to day 10, but the difference is that temperatures should be quite a bit milder. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 26th of March. We have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure out to our west, high pressure is to our northeast. We're going to be a bit more unsettled with those. 13 with high pressure sitting over and to the east of the country, ridging in from off the Atlantic. Jet stream push northwards. That looks like it could potentially be quite pleasant. Another 13 with high pressure a bit further northwards, and winds perhaps a bit more easterly. And then 10 looking quite unsettled. The Atlantic's breaking through again with a jet stream. They're going to be the most unsettled option. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the last day of March, 31st of March. 28 members of the ECM ensembles there with high pressure ridging through the country. Mostly dry weather with those. I'll just get the phone. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. I've got somebody ringing to Gasworth's Towers. So, we was talking about the options on the table within the ECM ensembles from the Icelandic Met Office. So, just go over that. 28 members of the ECM ensembles will be 31st of March, have high pressure, sitting very close to the country, to be mostly dry. And then 23 have high pressure more to the north. These over here have it more to the north, and then more sort of easterly, very similar to what the GFS 6 o'clock run is showing. I would have thought for the end of March and the beginning of April. Could be quite cold with both easterlies on that scenario. And then finally, CFS-V2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down to weekly periods. So the first weekly period is going to take us from the 16th to the 22nd of March. The coming week has low pressure being pushed out to the northwest as high pressure becomes increasingly influential. The trend is towards drier conditions. Initially quite mild, then becoming a little bit colder. Temperatures in week 2 also look quite cold because this is the 23rd, 29th of March, and then we have high pressure properly centering over Scandinavia and bringing in a proper easterly wind, so that could be quite a coldish week as well. A lot of dry weather, of course, though, with all this high pressure around. Week 3 is the 30th of March to 5th of April. Then high pressure is over and just slightly to the west of us. Again, the emphasis is on dry conditions here. Possibly hints of something more unsettled by week 4. This is the 6th to the 12th of April. Then low pressure is heading in off the Atlantic, and we're beginning to turn more unsettled in that week, 6th to the 12th of April. Temperature anomalies in week ahead are colder than average. This is from the 16th to 22nd of March, below average temperatures overall, and also looking quite chilly in week 2 to the 23rd to the 29th of March as well. Still a bit on the below average hot side, even into week 3. This is the 30th of March to the 5th of April, still a bit below average even then. Possibly hints at going a bit milder by week 4, 6th to the 12th of April. And finally, precipitation. So near normal precipitation this week from the 16th to 22nd of March. Drier than average in week 2, which is the 23rd to 29th of March. That's significantly drier than average. Drier than average again in week 3, 30th of March to the 5th of April. And then week 4, perhaps hints at going a little bit more unsettled. Perhaps hints at being a little bit wetter from the 6th to the 12th of April. So, yes, we are still going into a significantly drier period than we've been in for quite some time, and becoming rather colder as well. Certainly late this week into the weekend and early next week looks quite cold. I think later next week you'll probably see the temperatures increasing as winds swinging to the south and the southwest. But it could be that by the last week of March we're back into those easterlies again, actually. Right, so that's it for your video for today. Tomorrow we've got the ECMWF 30-day look ahead, and we'll have a week 10 of the update as well. Some point very soon I'm going to verify the winter forecast as well. I know a few of you are waiting for that, so it might be today, it might be tomorrow, but one day this week anyway, we will have a verification for the Gazov's winter 2019-2020 winter forecast. Right, but that's all it for now, and thanks for watching.